If you made a list of the most distinctive gridiron sets of all time, the 1970s Topps football cards would have to sit near the top, right? I mean, any collector who's been around for a while can instantly identify those gold tan borders and that Family Feud / dating game style oval cutout from a mile away. This set is the perfect representation of its era, and that extends down to the player photos, where the long hair and the burgeoning sideburns of the day were on full display. But 1970s Topps is not just about style. From big-name rookie cards to ancient future Hall of Famers, this set has something for every fan and collector. With all that in mind, here is the list of the 12 most valuable 1970s Topps football cards according to PSA 8 prices as listed in the PSA Sports Market Report Price Guide. Once upon a time, this O.J. Simpson rookie card was among the most desirable and valuable cards in the entire hobby. In the 1980s, during the hobby boom, O.J. was a beloved Heisman Trophy winner and Hall of Famer who had parlayed his charms and fame into a budding Hollywood career. Then, of course, the events of June 1994 changed everything, and O.J. became untouchable in a whole different sort of way than when he was running the ball for USC and the Buffalo Bills, and technically the San Francisco 49ers. Today, enough collectors still, or again, see this card as the rookie card of one of the greatest running backs ever, to keep it at the top of the 1970s Topps food chain. O.J.'s first card sells for around $250 in PSA 8. NAMATH was a year removed from his promise-led charge to victory in Super Bowl III when this card showed up in the fall of 1970. But he was still a high-profile, good-looking quarterback of the New York Jets, and he was already a legend. As such, NAMATH's 1970 Topps card was popular right from the beginning, and it remains about a $100 card in graded near mint condition today. Unless you were an Atlanta Falcons fan or a die-hard NFL aficionado in the 1970s, there's a decent chance you've never heard of Claude Humphrey. Defensive ends just didn't get much play in the press in those days, and neither did the moribund Falcons. But Humphrey has multiple Pro Bowl and All-Pro honors to his name, and he gained Canton election in 2014. That uptick in limelight has helped push Humphrey's rookie card to about $65 in PSA 8. Just as this card was issued, Sayers suffered a left knee injury in the 1970 preseason, and subsequent surgeries and further injury put a very early end to a great career. In 5 full seasons through 1969, Sayers won 2 rushing titles and picked up nearly 5,000 yards. He appeared headed for the record book and Canton. That Hall of Fame bust still materialized in 1977, and this classic 1970 Sayers is a $60 card in PSA 8 today. By the time this 1970 Topps card was issued, STARR was a few years removed from his peak with the great Green Bay Packers team of the 1960s. But with 5 NFL championships, including the first 2 Super Bowl titles under his belt, STARR's legacy was secure. And though he's aged here, STARR still looks right at home in the classic quarterback pose on a card that fetches about $55 today in PSA 8. Pretty much the same story for UNITAS as for STARR. A legendary quarterback at the end of his career appears on a classic football card that sells for around $55. Of course, the COLTS Hall of Famer gives us a slightly different look, as he seems to be studying the football for alien life. Think he found anything? Before Tony Dorsett flashed into the NFL, Calvin Hill ruled the Cowboys backfield in the early 1970s. Rushing for 1,000 yards in both 1972 and 1973, Hill established himself as a bruising runner who also had the hands to catch 271 balls for nearly 2,900 yards in his 12-year career. Later stints with the Redskins and Browns weren't quite as productive, but Hill won a ring with Dallas in 1971, which forever endeared him to the fans nationwide. Today, Hill's rookie card sells for a $50 buy in PSA 8. Who is the greatest linebacker of all time? Any conversation that starts with that question inevitably loops in BUTKUS. Remarkable considering he retired nearly 50 years ago. This 1970 Topps is about a $50 card in PSA 8 condition these days. Like STARR and UNITAS, Dawson was the all-time great entering the final stretch of his career as the 1970 season dawned. The Kansas City Chiefs legend would turn in 6 more seasons with the team, though, further solidifying his Hall of Fame case. The 1970 Topps Dawson is a $40 buy in PSA 8 today, undoubtedly helped along by the condition sensitivities of being a number 1 card. Smith was larger than life, both in real life at 6'7", 265 pounds, and on the field for the high-profile Baltimore Colts and the Oakland Raiders. As such, he was one of the few early defensive ends who gained a fair amount of exposure in popular culture, and a post-playing acting career only catapulted him to more fame. Today, Bubba's 1970 Topps issue is a $40 card in slabbed near mint condition. CSONKA was one of the stars of the perfect season 1972 Miami Dolphins and one of the great running backs of 1970s. With over 8,000 yards rushing and 64 touchdowns during an 11-year career with Miami and the New York Giants, CSONKA has been popular with collectors for 5 decades. Today, his 1970s Topps card hammers down around $40 in PSA 8. You don't often find kickers on the list of most valuable cards for any set, but then you don't often find kickers with a resume like Jan Stenrud's either. Stenrud kicked extra points and field goals for the Chiefs forever, and then he tacked on another 6 seasons with the Packers and Vikings. All that after not debuting in the NFL until he was 25. And for his efforts, Stenrud blew into the Hall of Fame in 1991, and his rookie card carries a $35 price tag in PSA 8 condition today. If you like this video, then like this video and subscribe to our channel, waxpackgods.com.